How you begin your week is not a routine. It is a declaration. It is the silent moment where you decide whether your life will be led by intention or consumed by noise. Most people wake up on Monday and walk straight into chaos. Half awake, already reacting, already pulled into the world before they've even claimed their own mind. But here is the truth that most never hear. How you begin your week is how you build your life. Strong beginnings create strong outcomes. Weak beginnings repeat weak patterns. Most people start their week by surrendering their attention. They grab their phone before they take a conscious breath. They dive into other people's lives before asking themselves what they want for their own. They carry last week's stress into a week that was meant to be a clean slate, and then wonder why they feel behind before the week even starts. That isn't fate. It's the biology of distraction, the psychology of misalignment. A mind cannot move forward when its first input is chaos. This audiobook is not about hype. It is about clarity, structure, and energy. It is about showing up like someone who takes their life seriously. Because every Monday asks you one question. Will you lead your life, or will you react to it? You cannot step into strength with a scattered mind. Your first decisions anchor your direction, your mood, your discipline. Neuroscience shows that the first moments of the day regulate your nervous system and frame how your brain filters the world. Spiritually, your first focus sets the frequency of your week. When you claim your attention, you reclaim your power. This is where your transformation begins. In the quiet moment where you choose direction over distraction, presence over autopilot, intention over noise. When you change how you begin your week, you change everything that follows. If you're ready to rise above the noise, like the video, it tells YouTube you're choosing awareness over autopilot. Subscribe now and don't miss the next chapter in your evolution. And remember, the deepest transformation belongs to those who stay until the very end. Chapter 1. Claim the first hour. Put your phone down and return to yourself. How you begin your week quietly shapes everything that follows. It sets the tone, directs your attention, and influences the state of your nervous system long before you take your first step outside. Most people don't realize how much power lives in their first hour. How one simple choice can determine whether they spend the week grounded or scattered, clear or overwhelmed, leading or reacting. For most people today, the very first thing they do on Monday morning is reach for their phone. That one reflex, seemingly harmless, becomes the doorway through which their entire week slips away from them. Instead of waking with intention, they wake with distraction. Instead of claiming their mind, they give it away. Instead of asking themselves what they need, they surrender their attention to the thoughts, opinions, images, and noise of the world. And that is the fastest way to lose control of your own life before you've lived a single hour of it. Think about it clearly. Every week offers you a clean slate, but only if you claim it. You cannot step into a new week with strength if your first action is to drown your mind in notifications. You cannot move toward your goals with clarity if your attention is scattered within minutes of waking. You cannot lead your life if you begin your morning following algorithms instead of intention. People ask, how do I take control of my time? The answer is simple. Stop giving it away before you even get out of bed. That first half hour is not the world's. It is yours. It is the most sacred window of the week. Your mind, your breath, your thoughts, your direction. But when you pick up your phone the moment you wake, you abandon your own center. You leave your inner world and walk into someone else's without even noticing it. The danger is that it feels harmless. You think you're just checking one thing. You think it's just a habit. But that tiny habit carries weight. Within minutes, you've already lost a silent battle with yourself. You gave your attention away, and with it, you gave away your focus, your calm, your presence, and your ability to start the week anchored in strength. This is not just about distraction. It's about what distraction does to your inner field. When you start your week scrolling, you expose your mind to comparison, pressure, images, noise, and expectations you didn't choose. It alters your emotional chemistry before you're awake enough to defend yourself. It shifts your nervous system into reaction mode. Your heart rate changes, cortisol rises, and you lose the calm clarity you needed to lead your day. Now you're not just distracted, you're discouraged, you're unsettled. And discouraged minds do not dream boldly. They play small, they hide, they hesitate. The phone isn't the enemy. The problem is starting your week in the world before you've returned to yourself. You must be the one in charge. You must be the one who sets the rule. And the rule is simple. Do not enter the world before you enter your own mind. You need silence before noise. You need intention before information. You need your own voice before you are flooded by the voices of others. Every Monday morning, life gives you a moment, a window, to reset, breathe, and orient yourself. Most people throw that moment away, but you are not here to live like most people. You are here to lead yourself, to sit for a few minutes, grounded, centered, calm, and ask, what do I want from this week? What matters most right now? How do I choose to show up? These questions create internal alignment. They shift your awareness from survival to leadership. They reconnect you with your own energy instead of the world's chaos. And that's where true power begins. If you want to understand the science behind this, your brain wakes up in a state of heightened neuroplasticity. Your first thoughts of the morning imprint deeply. They set the emotional tone and cognitive filters that guide your entire day. When you begin your week with intention, you activate your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for clarity, planning, and self-control. When you begin with scrolling, you activate the limbic system, reactivity, impulsiveness, emotional turbulence. In spiritual terms, the first moments of your week are when you broadcast a frequency. You are always sending out signals through your focus, your breathing, your attitude, your posture. If the first signal you send is calm, grounded, intentional, your environment reacts differently to you. Interactions shift. Decisions become sharper. The world feels less chaotic because you are no longer matching the chaos. You are holding your center. So start your week by facing your own life, not by escaping it. Sit down with a pen. Ask yourself honestly, what am I avoiding? What needs my attention? What small promise can I keep today that honors who I want to become? Growth doesn't come from ignoring your life. It comes from looking directly at it, with honesty, with courage, with responsibility. Confidence isn't built from praise. Confidence is built from discipline, doing what you know is right for you, even when no one is watching. That discipline begins the moment you decide, I will not escape into my phone. I will face myself first. Look around your room. Look at your space. Look inward. Ask yourself, am I proud of how I've been living? If the answer is no, then today is not a punishment. It is an invitation, a chance to begin differently. The world doesn't need more people scrolling through life. It needs people awake, present, alive, and committed to their own growth. And you can be that person. You can decide that this Monday, this week, you put your phone down. claim your attention, and return to yourself like your life actually matters. Because it does. This is how strong people are made. This is how leaders are built. Not through noise, but through clarity. Not by reacting, but by choosing. Not by following algorithms, but by following your own mind. And it all begins right here, in the first hour of your week. Chapter 2. Ask. What are you tired of tolerating? Clean your inner field. Every person walking through life is tolerating something they shouldn't. A habit, a mindset, a pattern, a relationship, a way they talk to themselves every morning. And because they've lived with it for so long, it feels normal. So normal that they no longer see how deeply it drains them. But nothing changes until you stop and ask one honest question. What am I tired of tolerating? You do not grow only by adding new habits. You grow by removing the toxic weight of everything you've quietly allowed for far too long. The things you tolerate are the things that steal your strength in silence. They pull at you daily, quietly, consistently, until you look up one day and realize your life feels heavier than it should. Maybe you're tolerating being tired all the time because you've stopped taking care of your body. Maybe you're tolerating the fear of what people think, so you stay silent when you should speak. Maybe you're tolerating a schedule that gives you no room to breathe. Maybe you're tolerating disrespect from others or from yourself. Or maybe you're tolerating the way you shrink, overthink, and abandon your own potential. Every time you tolerate something that contradicts the person you want to become, you lose a little piece of your self-respect. Not because you failed, but because you stayed quiet when your inner voice whispered, "This is not right for you anymore." People think big breakthroughs come from huge decisions, but they rarely do. They come from small private moments like this, a Monday morning, where you sit still, breathe, and finally acknowledge what has been bothering you beneath the surface. This takes honesty. It takes courage. It takes the willingness to stop lying to yourself about what is draining you. And yes, sometimes the truth stings, but truth also frees. Facing what you've been tolerating gives you a personal power that no one can take from you. You begin to realize you were never stuck. You were simply carrying too much that wasn't meant for you. Nothing drains your confidence more than waking up each week and reliving the same frustrations you refuse to address. Nothing strengthens you more than deciding, "This ends now." The science of toleration, why it drains you. There is a psychological and energetic cost to tolerating things you've outgrown. In psychology, your brain keeps a background loop open for every unresolved, unspoken, or unaddressed problem. These open loops consume mental energy. They divide your focus. They create subtle stress signals in your nervous system, even when you think you're ignoring them. Your mind does not forget what you refuse to confront. It carries it. It holds it. It protects you from it. And in doing so, it drains you. Spiritually, tolerations are energetic leaks, places where your personal field becomes fractured or unsteady. Every time you accept something beneath your standard, you broadcast a frequency of, "I'm willing to live with this." That frequency shapes what you attract, what you choose, and what you repeat. You cannot hold a powerful field while carrying tolerations that dilute it. You cannot build a strong weak on top of weak boundaries. You cannot feel clear when your inner world is cluttered with unresolved weight. The inventory, a clearing of your inner field. If you want your week to be different, you must take an honest inventory of your life. Sit in silence, breathe deeply, and ask, what has been bothering me that I keep brushing off? What am I pretending not to notice? What am I allowing in my life that no longer belongs here? What have I accepted as normal simply because I'm afraid of discomfort. Write your answers down. Do not edit them. Do not justify them. Do not protect them. Make them real. Give them names. Truth cannot free you until it becomes visible. Then, beside each toleration, write one word: face, fix, or release. Not everything needs to be solved immediately, but everything needs to be acknowledged. What you refuse to name becomes the very thing that controls you. The emotional cost of silence. When you tolerate things that diminish you, you send a signal to your mind that your peace doesn't matter. And over time, that signal becomes self-identity. You start to believe you deserve the discomfort you allow. You mistake endurance for strength. But true strength is not enduring unnecessary weight. True strength is letting go of what no longer aligns with who you want to become. Every small frustration is a symptom of something deeper, a need for change, clarity, courage. You don't fix it by pretending it doesn't matter. You fix it by facing it. This is not about being harsh. It is about taking responsibility for your energy. It's about saying, I am in charge of my environment. I am in charge of my boundaries. I am in charge of what gets to stay in my life. The shift. When you stop tolerating what diminishes you, when you stop tolerating what drains you, something profound happens inside. You start respecting yourself again. You walk taller. You speak with more certainty. You stop chasing approval from people who don't value you. You stop settling for days that leave you empty. You stop shrinking to fit environments that cannot hold your growth. This is how transformation begins, not by adding more tasks, but by removing what is quietly breaking you down. This week, don't make a long list of goals. Don't force positivity. Get real. Get honest. Ask yourself the question most people never dare to ask. What am I putting up with that is no longer acceptable? And when the answer comes, respect it. Don't explain it away. Don't soften it. Don't hide from it. Face it with clarity and courage, because the moment you stop tolerating what drains you, you begin to create space for the life that is meant for you. This week is your chance to clear your inner field, your chance to reclaim your energy, your chance to draw a new line. You owe yourself that much. Chapter 3. Decide how you will show up today. You don't control everything that will happen this week. You don't control the weather, the unexpected situations, the moods of other people, or the random events life throws your way. But you do control one thing that shapes everything else: how you choose to show up. That single decision is the difference between a week you lead and a week that leads you. Before the world pulls at your attention, before the responsibilities begin, before anyone asks anything from you, you need to ask yourself one question: who am I going to be today? Most people never ask this. They wake up and wait. They wait for a mood, a feeling, a burst of motivation. They wait for the day to be easy. They wait for inspiration to strike. They wait for something outside of them to give them permission to start strong. But the truth is simple. If you don't decide how you're going to show up, the day will decide it for you. Your environment will decide it. Your emotions will decide it. Pressure, stress, or one rude comment from someone will decide it. And suddenly, you're no longer acting from intention. You're reacting from impulse. That's when the day slips away from you. That's when you forget your standards. That's when your energy becomes scattered. That's when you end a Monday feeling like you lived a long day without truly being present in any of it. Identity before emotion. When you choose how to show up, you are choosing your state, your posture, your energy, your sense of self. This isn't about forcing perfection. It's about being deliberate, You get to decide if you walk into the day with discipline or distraction, with calm or chaos, with focus or frustration, with clarity or confusion. That choice belongs to you. People underestimate how powerful this is because it sounds simple, but it is not small. It is everything. The way you show up influences how you think, how you speak, how you solve problems, how people respond to you, and whether you move toward your goals or away from them. If you begin the day unsure of yourself, you will hesitate. If you begin the day scattered, you will drift. If you begin the day reactive, you will shrink. But when you begin with identity, when you consciously choose who you are going to be, your energy organizes itself around that choice. Motivation may fail, inspiration may fade, but identity carries you. The science of presence. There is a scientific reason this works. When you make a clear internal decision about who you are going to be, your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain that governs intention, planning, and emotional regulation, activates. This gives you more control over your reactions and reduces the influence of stress triggers. Your nervous system begins the day in coherence rather than chaos. Your mind becomes a leader instead of a follower. Your emotional field becomes anchored rather than scattered. In spiritual terms, this is alignment. You set your frequency first, and then the world adjusts to it. You project calm, and situations lose their power to pull you out of balance. You carry focus, and distractions slip off instead of sinking in. You embody strength, and your actions reflect it. When your inner world is set, the outer world cannot shake you easily. The calibration ritual. Before your day begins, take a moment, just a moment, to choose your energy. Stand tall. Breathe deeply. Feel your feet grounded on the floor. Then ask yourself, how do I want to carry myself today? What energy do I bring into every room I walk into? If someone met me today for the first time, what would they feel? Don't choose a mood. Choose a standard. Maybe today you choose discipline. Maybe today you choose calm strength. Maybe today you choose patience. Maybe today you choose clarity. Whatever it is, choose it consciously. Identity is not a wish. Identity is not an emotion. Identity is a decision. And when you align your breath, your posture, your thoughts, and your intention, that identity becomes real. It becomes embodied. It becomes the version of you that leads your actions, not by force, but by consistency. You cannot carry yesterday into today. One of the biggest mistakes people make is dragging yesterday into today. Yesterday's mistakes, yesterday's stress, yesterday's doubts, yesterday's fatigue, yesterday's frustrations. You cannot bring old heaviness into a new day and expect to feel strong. Let it go. Not because it didn't matter, but because it's over. Holding on to the past steals the energy you need to live the present with power. This is why showing up intentionally is a reset. It tells your system, today is a new beginning. I choose who I am now. And that single declaration breaks psychological loops, emotional inertia, and reactive habits. When you show up strong, everything changes. People feel it. Your decisions sharpen. Your conversations improve. Your presence becomes grounded. Your standards rise. You stop waiting for the world to treat you differently. You treat yourself differently first. And the world responds to that. Not through luck, through alignment. When you decide how to show up, you stop abandoning yourself the moment life becomes inconvenient. You stop allowing your emotions to run the day. You stop drifting. You stop hiding. You stop lowering your standards for the sake of surviving the day. You begin living the day. Don't drift into your day. Step into it. You deserve to experience the version of you that is clear, grounded, focused, alive, present, intentional. But that version doesn't arrive by accident. You must choose it. Every morning, every Monday, every beginning. Not by waiting to feel ready. Not by hoping your mood aligns. But by deciding, this is how I show up today. Then you back it with how you move, how you breathe, how you speak, how you handle challenges, how you think when no one is watching. That is how you earn your own respect. That is how you take control of your week. That is how you build a life you are proud to live. Start today. Start now. Chapter 4. Think about the person you are becoming right now. Most people spend their lives focused on what they are doing, tasks, deadlines, responsibilities, routines. But very few stop long enough to ask the question that actually shapes everything. Who am I becoming through the way I live right now? Because every decision you make today, every habit you repeat, every moment you react or choose discipline, every small choice you think doesn't matter, each one is shaping the person you will be months from now. Whether you realize it or not, you are becoming someone. The only question is whether you are becoming someone you respect or someone you barely recognize. This is the part most people miss. You are not just passing time. You are building identity. Every day, your actions carve a deeper impression of who you believe yourself to be. You create evidence for or against your confidence. You reinforce your strength or your avoidance. You build character or you build excuses. If you avoid responsibility, you are becoming someone who hides. If you complain about everything, you are becoming someone who feels powerless. If you quit every time life feels uncomfortable, you are becoming someone who never discovers their potential. But if you face your challenges even when you're scared, you are becoming someone resilient. If you stay consistent, even in small ways, when you don't feel motivated, you are becoming someone trustworthy. If you show up for yourself when no one claps, you are becoming someone grounded in real self-respect. Your identity is not built in dramatic moments. It is built in quiet ones, the moments where no one is watching and you still choose to act with integrity. The science of becoming your brain is constantly rewiring itself based on what you repeatedly do. This process, neuroplasticity, means that every habit strengthens a neural pathway, making it easier to repeat and harder to break. You quite literally train your brain to become the person your actions represent. When you procrastinate, your brain learns avoidance. When you hesitate, your brain learns fear. When you make excuses, your brain learns helplessness. But when you take action, despite discomfort, your brain learns courage. When you follow through on promises, your brain learns trust. When you choose discipline over distraction, your brain learns strength. Identity is nothing more than the sum of your repeated truths, and your repeated truths become your character, the energetic blueprint of your future self. On a deeper spiritual level, every day you are shaping an energetic pattern, a frequency, that becomes the blueprint of your future self. Your thoughts broadcast direction. Your habits broadcast standards. Your decisions broadcast identity. If you live from indecision, you strengthen the energy of confusion. If you live from fear, you strengthen the energy of contraction. If you live from avoidance, you strengthen the energy of stagnation. But if you live from intentionality, you strengthen the energy of clarity. If you live from discipline, you strengthen the energy of expansion. If you live from courage, you strengthen the energy of forward movement. Your future self is not a fantasy. It is a direction. You are either walking toward it or away from it every single day? The question that changes everything. Stop right now. Breathe. Ask yourself with brutal honesty, if I keep living the way I'm living right now, who will I become in a year? Not who you wish you would be, not who you pretend you're becoming. Who are you actually becoming based on your real actions? This question should wake you up or validate you. One of the two. If the answer inspires you, good. Keep going. If the answer scares you, even better. That means you're finally seeing your life clearly. Time does not pause while you try to figure things out. Life does not wait for you to catch up. You are always shifting, forward or backward. There is no neutral. There is no stillness. There is only direction. Do your habits match your values? It's easy to say you want discipline, but does your routine reflect that? It's easy to say you want confidence, but do your actions build it? It's easy to say you want growth, but does your behavior prove it? You cannot become a strong person while repeating weak patterns. You cannot become a confident person while choosing avoidance. You cannot become a grounded person while living in emotional chaos. Identity is replaced by action, not by dreaming, not by hoping, not by planning. Change does not tap you on the shoulder. You build it with the steps you take when no one is celebrating you. The real you is built in silence. People think transformation happens in loud, dramatic, life-changing moments. It doesn't. It happens in the quiet ones. When you work for 20 minutes instead of scrolling for 20 minutes. When you speak to yourself with respect instead of criticism. When you take responsibility instead of blaming circumstances. When you show up even when you don't feel like it. This is how the real you is built. Not the version you talk about, but the version you consistently act from. You can change direction at any moment. The most powerful truth is this. Identity is not fixed. You are not trapped in who you were yesterday. You are not defined by who you were last year. You are not sentenced to be the person your past shaped. You can decide today that your life deserves a different direction. And that decision becomes real the moment your behavior aligns with it, no matter how small the action. Your future self is waiting on the other side of your courage. Your next chapter is waiting behind the choices you have been avoiding. Your strength is waiting in the habits you keep delaying. Begin becoming the person you respect. If you want to be proud of who you are becoming, then earn that pride. Not through perfection, through alignment, through choosing the actions that match the life you say you want, through making the decisions your future self will thank you for, through living in a way that builds honor, integrity, and inner stability. You do not become someone powerful by accident. You become someone powerful by choosing the path of intention over the path of autopilot. And it starts right now, with awareness, ownership, and the quiet commitment to live like the person you want to respect. You are the builder. You are the designer. You are the one who decides who you become. Choose wisely. Choose consciously. Choose now. Chapter 5. One promise to your future self, and this time, you keep it. There is something profoundly powerful about making a promise to yourself. Not a wish, not a plan, not a casual intention you forget by next week. A promise, a real inner contract between who you are now and who you are becoming. Most people are drowning in goals, but starving in commitment. They make lists, talk about change, fantasize about new versions of themselves, and then break the very promises that would have built that transformation. And every time you break a promise to yourself, something inside you weakens. You don't just lose motivation, you lose trust. You stop believing your own words. You start doubting your goals before you even start them. You begin to look at yourself through the lens of all the times you said you would and didn't. A person who cannot trust their own word cannot create a meaningful future, not because they lack potential, but because they lack integrity with themselves. And this is where everything changes. When you choose one promise, write it clearly and decide that this time you keep it. No matter what. Why promises shape identity. Promises hold power because they connect your present self to your future self. When you keep a promise, you build inner credibility. You prove to yourself that you can rely on your own commitment. And that self-trust becomes the foundation of confidence. Confidence isn't built by saying, "You'll do something." Confidence is built when you do it. People think confidence comes from compliments or success, but it comes from congruence, the alignment between your word and your action. When your actions match your intentions, your nervous system relaxes. Your mind becomes quieter. Your internal world becomes ordered. You experience yourself as someone stable, someone dependable, someone capable of follow-through. When your actions contradict your intentions, your inner world becomes chaotic. Your brain stores the memory of failure. Your body holds the tension of self-disappointment. And your identity becomes fractured between who you want to be and who you actually behave as. A person who keeps their promises walks differently, talks differently, faces life differently, because they know they can count on themselves. The spiritual aspect of self-promise. On an energetic level, a promise is a declaration to the universe and to yourself. When you commit deeply, your emotional field shifts. You radiate a different frequency, one of intention, integrity, and self-respect. A kept promise becomes a vibration that strengthens your field. A broken promise becomes a vibration that weakens it. This is why even small broken promises hurt. They create micro-tears in your energetic architecture. But when you keep a promise, you build coherence. Your thoughts, actions, and emotions align. You move through the world in a straight line instead of wobbling between desire and doubt. Your future self is formed not by what you dream, but by the energetic consistency of what you choose and repeat. The pattern of self-betrayal. Think about the times you broke promises to yourself. Waking up at the time you said you would. Starting the project you said mattered. Taking care of your body when you said you'd be consistent. Stopping the habit you swore you were done with. Every broken promise becomes evidence that you are unreliable to yourself, and your identity adjusts downward to match that evidence. This is why people stay stuck, not because they lack discipline, but because they have trained themselves to see their word as optional. They talk big, but act small, and the gap between those two becomes a quiet form of self-betrayal. You cannot feel proud if you keep abandoning yourself. You cannot feel strong if you keep creating proof that you are weak. You cannot feel confident if you break the foundations of your own trust. The good news is that the pattern can be reversed through one kept promise. The one promise rule. You do not need 20 new habits. You do not need a complicated routine. You do not need to overhaul your entire life this week. You need one promise you will not break. Just one. It must be simple enough to complete every day. Clear enough that you know exactly when you've fulfilled it. Meaningful enough that it elevates your identity. Examples. I will move my body for 10 minutes every day. I will spend 20 minutes on my goal, no matter how I feel. I will not start my day with my phone. I will speak to myself with respect, not criticism. I will stay consistent even when it's inconvenient. Do not write a promise to impress anyone. Write a promise that strengthens you, because once it is written, It becomes your standard, not your suggestion. You do not lower it on bad days. You do not adjust it because you're tired. You do not renegotiate with your excuses. This promise becomes the anchor that pulls you forward, even when your emotions fluctuate. The science of follow-through. When you keep a promise, dopamine pathways strengthen. Your brain associates consistency with reward. Your stress response calms. Your sense of control rises. Your confidence grows from evidence, not fantasy. Keeping promises literally rewires your brain toward empowered action. Breaking them rewires your brain toward avoidance and self-doubt. You are always training your mind, either toward discipline or toward delay. Your promise becomes your future. Most people want pride without the actions that create pride. They want results without the behaviors that build results. They want a powerful life while living with weak standards. But you are building something different. Every kept promise becomes a brick in the architecture of your future self. Every day you follow through, you deepen the blueprint of the person you're becoming. Imagine yourself a year from now, looking back, knowing you were someone who kept your word, especially when it was difficult. That is the version of you you're building right now. And it begins with one promise. Write it, speak it, honor it, defend it, live it. Not because anyone is watching, because you are watching. And you deserve to trust yourself again. This is the moment you draw a line. This is the moment you set a new standard. This is the moment you stop breaking your own heart with broken promises. Choose the promise. Keep it. Build yourself from it. Chapter 6. Cut 1. Excuse that has been stealing your future. Every person has at least one excuse they return to the moment progress becomes uncomfortable. One single line they whisper to themselves when the pressure rises. One mental escape hatch they use to slip back into comfort without having to admit they chose it. Excuses don't arrive dramatically. They don't shout. They don't confront you. They whisper, "I'm too tired. I'll start later. I'm not ready yet. What's the point if I keep failing?" And quietly, silently, consistently, that excuse becomes a wall between you and the life you want. You say you want change, but the moment discomfort appears, the excuse rises faster than your commitment. You retreat. You delay. You hide behind a sentence you've repeated so many times that it sounds like truth. But it isn't truth. It's protection. It's a shield from discomfort, not a barrier from possibility. And if you don't cut that excuse now, completely, consciously, finally, it will follow you for the rest of your life. The true cost of an excuse. Your excuse is costing you more than time. It costs you confidence. It costs you internal strength. It costs you momentum. You lose trust in yourself every time you let it win. You lose clarity every time you let it take over. You lose potential every time you let it run your decisions. People think their circumstances are the obstacle, but circumstances are neutral until your excuse attaches itself to them. It's not, "I don't have time." It's, "I don't prioritize the thing I say matters." It's not, "I don't know where to start." It's, "I don't want to be a beginner." It's not, "I'm too overwhelmed." It's, "I don't want to face discomfort." Excuses are just well-disguised fear, and every day you listen to them, you strengthen a neural pathway that leads to stagnation. You train your mind to associate discomfort with retreat, not growth. The neuroscience of excuses. Excuses originate from the brain's survival system, the limbic system. Its job is to avoid pain, avoid risk, avoid uncertainty. The moment something feels challenging, this part of your brain fires off thoughts that sound reasonable, but are deeply misleading. This is why excuses feel so believable. They are built from fear, not logic. They are designed to keep you comfortable, not conscious. When you cut a long-standing excuse, you interrupt that neural loop. You rewire the pattern. You take your brain out of survival mode and place it into creation mode. That's how identity shifts. That's how discipline forms. That's how transformation begins. Not from motivation, but from interrupting the mental patterns that once controlled you. The spiritual side of excuses. On an energetic level, excuses create stagnation. They lower your vibration into hesitation, self-doubt, contraction, mental fog. Every time you accept an excuse, you reinforce the frequency of limitation. You shrink your field. You tighten your energy. You dim your inner power. But when you cut an excuse, truly cut it, it is like snapping a cord that has been holding your future hostage. Your energy expands. Your field strengthens. Your internal sense of direction sharpens. Excuses are not just mental. They are energetic leaks. Cutting them is not just a choice. It is spiritual alignment. Face the excuse directly. There is one excuse you repeat more than any other. One sentence that shows up every time you're about to step forward. You already know what it is. You've used it when things got uncomfortable. You've used it when you wanted progress, but feared the effort. You've used it when your future was calling, and you didn't feel ready to answer. Now it's time to name it. Not next week. Not when life is calmer. Now. Write it. Say it. Face it. What excuse do I keep using to stay comfortable? Do not soften it. Do not dress it up. Do not justify it. Look at it clearly, because that excuse has been draining your strength for years. It has been shaping your identity without your permission. It has been deciding your direction without you realizing it. And this ends now. Cut. Don't negotiate. You cannot negotiate with an excuse. If you leave space for it, it will return. If you treat it gently, it will grow roots. If you ignore it instead of cutting it, it will shape your next year the same way it shaped your last. This is not about ignoring struggle. This is about removing the narrative you hide behind. If your excuse is, "I don't have energy," replace it with, "I build energy through consistency." If your excuse is, "I always fail," replace it with, "I'm someone who persists through imperfection." If your excuse is, "I don't know where to start," replace it with, "I start small, I start now, I start imperfect." You cannot just remove the excuse. You must replace it with a truth that strengthens you. This is how you rebuild your inner world. This is how you free your potential. This is how you become the person you were meant to be. The moment you cut the excuse, everything changes. When you cut the excuse, your energy rises, your clarity returns, your confidence grows, your inner voice becomes louder than your fear. You stop living as someone who avoids discomfort. You start living as someone who chooses growth. Progress suddenly feels possible, not because the path gets easier, but because you stop fighting yourself. No more internal conflict, no more mental sabotage, no more living on the edge of your potential. Just alignment, clean, powerful alignment. The world belongs to those who cut their excuses, not to those who never feel fear, not to those who always have motivation, not to those who have perfect circumstances, but to those who stop letting excuses dictate their identity. Your life is asking for one thing right now. Cut the excuse. The one you know has been holding you back. The one you cling to when things feel uncomfortable. The one that has cost you months, years, and opportunities. Cut it completely. Cut it firmly. Cut it without apology. Because on the other side of that decision is your real direction, your real strength, your real self. This is your turning point. Not tomorrow, not someday. Now. Chapter 7. Move your body before your doubts take control. The moment you wake up, your mind begins speaking before your feet even touch the ground. And its first language is not confidence, it's doubt. Can I handle this day? What if I fall behind again? What if today feels just like yesterday? What if nothing changes? These questions don't shout. They creep in quietly. And if you lie there long enough, if you stay still long enough, those doubts gain power. They grip your mind. They tighten your chest. They begin deciding your day before you even begin it. That is why you do not start the morning in your mind. You start with your body. You move. You stand. You stretch. You breathe deeper. You take control of your physical state before your mental state has the chance to pull you into inertia. Because doubt grows in stillness, fear grows in hesitation, overthinking grows in silence. You defeat them not with more thinking, but with movement. Fast, simple physical action that interrupts the voice of fear and reminds your brain who is in charge. Action before emotion. Most people wait to feel ready before they act. But readiness isn't a feeling. It's a physiological state created by motion. When you move your body, your nervous system shifts out of threat mode. Your breathing anchors you. Your awareness sharpens. Your cortisol drops. Your thoughts begin to organize. Your internal energy rises. And suddenly the world looks different. Not because it changed, but because you did. You don't need motivation to move. You build motivation by moving. You build clarity by moving. You build self-respect by moving. Every step pulls you out of rumination and pushes you back into leadership. The science of state shifting. The first 5 minutes after waking determine your dominant state for the next several hours. This is not philosophy. This is physiology. When you immediately move your body, your vagus nerve activates. Your prefrontal cortex wakes up. Your body produces neurotransmitters associated with focus. Blood flows faster. Your limbic system calms. Movement tells your entire system, we are not hiding today. We are participating in life. This simple action interrupts the spiral of doubt before it begins. It snaps you back into awareness. It pulls your consciousness out of fear and into presence. Your brain follows your body. Your emotions follow your motion. Your energy follows your actions. This is how you take control of your morning and your week. The spiritual energy of movement. On a deeper level, movement activates the life force within you. Stagnation lowers your energetic frequency. It creates heaviness, fog, emotional friction. When you stay still in the morning, your energy collapses inward. But when you move, even lightly, you expand your field. You ground your energy. You open your internal channels. You activate flow. You signal your spirit that you are ready to participate in your own life. Movement is not just physical. It is energetic alignment. You cannot attract clarity while holding the vibration of stagnation. You cannot access strength while lying in the energy of doubt. You cannot elevate your life while your body is still anchored in yesterday. Move your body first. Let your mind follow. The real reason you feel stuck in mornings. People who feel stuck in life are almost always stuck in their mornings. They start slow. They overthink. They stay in bed too long. They scroll immediately and let other people's energy invade their field. They delay action until their doubts have already won. This is why momentum feels impossible. This is why confidence feels fragile. This is why motivation feels unpredictable. You've been giving doubt a head start. From today on, that stops. The 5-minute rule of momentum. You do not need a complex routine. You do not need perfect workout gear. You do not need a 30-minute session. You need 5 minutes of intentional movement. Walk around your room. Do 10 push-ups. Stretch purposefully. Take deep breaths while standing tall. Activate your muscles. Wake up your spine. Open your chest. Roll your shoulders. It does not matter what you do. It matters that you do something. The goal is not perfection. The goal is state activation. Once your body wakes up, your doubts lose their power. They cannot survive in a body that is in motion. Interrupting the doubt. Pattern doubt is a psychological pattern. It begins subtly. I don't know if I can handle this day. Then it grows into, I should just start later. Then it becomes, I'm already behind. Maybe tomorrow will be better. Movement breaks the chain at the first link. You don't need to win a mental battle. You don't need to argue with your doubts. You don't need to analyze your fears. You just need to do the one thing doubt doesn't expect. Move. Fear expects hesitation. Doubt expects silence. Insecurity expects delay. When you stand up and move before they grow roots, you confuse the pattern and take back control. Your body is your proof. Your body will show you the truth before your mind does. You will feel your energy rise, your breathing deepen, your posture strengthen, your presence sharpen, your awareness return, your inner voice become clearer. Movement is the physical expression of self-leadership. It is the first boundary you set each day. It is the first declaration of, I am not letting fear lead me today. And when your body leads with strength, your thoughts become disciplined. Your emotions become grounded. Your decisions become precise. Your day becomes yours again. Be the person who moves first. People who win long-term are not the ones who always feel inspired. They are the ones who create a standard for themselves. Before doubt speaks, I move. These people don't negotiate with hesitation. They don't wait for clarity. They create it. They don't let their body remain in yesterday's energy. They move. And that movement becomes identity. Identity becomes discipline. Discipline becomes momentum. Momentum becomes direction. And direction becomes transformation. You don't need to feel powerful to act powerful. You become powerful through action. Your future self is watching you every morning, asking, will you rise today, or will you repeat yesterday? Rise. Move. Interrupt the doubt. Lead your energy. Lead your day. Lead yourself. Chapter 8. Make the one decision you've been avoiding for weeks. There is a decision sitting inside your mind right now. One you've been carrying quietly for weeks. You don't talk about it out loud, but it's there when you're alone, when the noise fades, when the day settles. It appears during sleepless moments. It pulls at you in the middle of conversations. It surfaces when you least expect it. This decision has weight because you already know the truth. You already know what needs to be done. You already know what direction will free you, strengthen you, or move you forward. But instead of acting, you've been postponing it, avoiding it, stretching the discomfort out day after day, hoping clarity will magically appear or the situation will resolve itself. But avoidance does not bring clarity. Avoidance drains clarity. Avoidance steals energy. Avoidance creates silent stress that grows heavier. Each week you leave the decision untouched. Most people aren't exhausted from doing too much. They're exhausted from avoiding the one thing their future needs. The decision you've been avoiding is not confusing. It's confronting. It demands honesty. It demands courage. It demands alignment. And deep down, you've known the answer for a long time. The weight of unmade decisions. Avoiding a decision doesn't keep things stable. It keeps you in emotional limbo. Indecision is not neutral. It's exhausting. It consumes mental space. It steals the energy you could be using to build your life. It keeps your nervous system in a constant state of low-grade tension. Your brain loops the unresolved decision over and over. Your emotions stay unsettled because there is no closure. Your focus weakens because your mind keeps drifting back to the unfinished choice. Avoidance multiplies pressure. Avoidance turns a moment of discomfort into weeks of inner chaos. Avoidance keeps you stuck in a futureless in-between. You don't need more time. You need more courage. Because clarity isn't found in thinking. It's found in choosing. The neuroscience of avoidance. When you avoid a decision, your brain believes the decision is a threat. It activates your limbic system, which keeps you in fight-or-flight mode. That's why you feel drained. That's why your chest feels heavy. That's why you feel stuck, even when you're doing nothing. Every day you avoid the decision, your brain strengthens the fear pathway around it. The longer you wait, the heavier it feels. Not because the decision is growing, but because the fear is. But here's the twist. Once you finally decide, your brain shifts instantly. Stress lowers. Your body relaxes. Your prefrontal cortex, the center of clarity and strategy, turns back on. One decision can reset your entire internal system. That is why action brings peace, and avoidance brings anxiety. The spiritual truth behind decision-making. Every decision carries energy. Every avoided decision creates energetic blockage. When you refuse to choose, your life force becomes stagnant. Your internal frequency collapses inward. You feel heavier, disconnected, unfocused, uncertain. Not because life is unclear, but because you are unaligned with your own truth. But the moment you commit, your energy expands. Your field strengthens. Your intuition becomes louder. Your path becomes visible. Spiritual alignment happens the moment your decisions match what your inner voice has been trying to tell you. Your soul is not confused. Your mind is just afraid. The decision you've been avoiding. You know what it is. A conversation you've been postponing. A truth you've been hiding from. A boundary you've refused to set. A habit you know you must break. A goal you haven't committed to fully. A way of living you can't maintain anymore. You feel it right now as you read this. That tight pull in your chest? That is your inner intelligence telling you the truth has been waiting long enough. Stop pretending you need more clarity. You don't. Stop pretending you need more information. You don't. Stop pretending timing will feel perfect. It won't. You don't need certainty to choose. You need courage to choose. What happens when you finally decide? When you finally make the decision you've been avoiding? Your energy lifts immediately. Your focus returns. Your emotional field becomes lighter. Your anxiety dissolves into direction. Your confidence begins to grow again. Human beings are not designed to live unresolved. We are wired for movement, for direction, for alignment. Indecision is the heaviest place a person can live. Choice is the moment the weight falls off. Choose with your future in mind. The decision you're avoiding should not be made based on fear, convenience, comfort, temporary emotion. It should be made with one question. Which choice aligns with who I am becoming? Not who you were. Not who others want you to be. Not who your fear tries to keep you as. Every great transformation begins with a single brave decision that realigns your life with your true path. People evolve the moment they stop negotiating with truth. The world doesn't wait, and neither should you. Life will not pause for your hesitation. Opportunities will not wait for your confidence to catch up. Your potential will not sit still until you feel ready. But your power returns the moment you decide, this ends today. I'm not carrying this unresolved weight any longer. I'm clearing the fog. I'm choosing direction. Even if the decision is uncomfortable, you're moving again. Even if it brings challenge, it brings progress. Even if it changes everything, that change was needed. Growth requires endings. Strength requires clarity. Alignment requires choice. And your life is asking for one right now. The moment you decide, your future opens. Take a breath. Feel the decision pushing at your awareness. You know what it is. You've known for a long time. Now choose, quietly, firmly, without looking back. Because this is the moment everything starts moving again. This is the moment your stuckness ends. This is the moment your future begins. Chapter 10. Say out loud what you will no longer accept. There comes a moment in every life where silence becomes too expensive. A moment where pretending everything is fine begins to feel like self-betrayal. A moment where the weight of what you've tolerated presses so heavily on your spirit that the only way forward is to speak truth out loud. Not in whispers, not in your head, not in vague thoughts, but out loud, with full clarity, full honesty, and full conviction. Because transformation begins the moment you declare, I will no longer accept this. That sentence is not for the world. It is for you. It is a boundary spoken with your voice. It is a line drawn in your energy. It is a declaration that you are done carrying what drains you, done shrinking your standards, done betraying your own inner knowing. You cannot rise while accepting behaviors, patterns, or environments that break you down. You cannot step into a higher self while tolerating a lower way of living. Life does not upgrade until your standards upgrade. And standards upgrade the moment you say out loud what has no place in your future. The cost of silence. Silence looks calm from the outside, but inside it is heavy. Silence turns into resentment. Silence turns into exhaustion. Silence turns into self-doubt. Silence turns into a version of you that forgets what strength feels like. You've been bending, tolerating, convincing yourself it's not a big deal, telling yourself to be more patient, more forgiving, more understanding, even when the situation has been draining your spirit for far too long. But deep down, you know the truth. The things you tolerate shape the life you live. Every time you accept something that goes against your values, you weaken your inner foundation. Every time you remain silent about what hurts you, you shrink your own voice. Every time you allow disrespect, whether from others or from yourself, you teach your mind that your needs and boundaries don't matter. And that lie will follow you until the day you break it with one clear sentence. I am done accepting this. The neuroscience of speaking truth. Your brain responds differently to spoken words than to thoughts. Thoughts are fluid, easily doubted, easily dismissed. But when you speak out loud, your vocal cords activate your reticular activating system. Your brain interprets the words as a directive, not an idea. Your nervous system receives a clear command. Your identity shifts toward whatever you declare. This is why saying the truth out loud feels like strength. It literally activates neural pathways associated with agency, clarity, and self-leadership. Your voice becomes the anchor of your intention. Your body registers the boundary. Your mind aligns with your decision. What you speak, you begin to embody. The spiritual power of declaration. Spiritually, saying, I will no longer accept this, is not just a sentence. It is a frequency shift. It is you sending a clear signal into your energetic field. When you speak a boundary out loud, your energy realigns, your field strengthens, your intuition becomes sharper, your inner power returns. The universe responds to clarity, not confusion, to standards, not passivity, to boundaries, not silence. Your voice is the doorway between your inner world and your outer reality. When you speak truth, your life begins rearranging itself around that truth. What you must say out loud. You already know what you need to say. Maybe it's, I will no longer accept being disrespected. I will no longer accept ignoring my health. I will no longer accept treating myself like an afterthought. I will no longer accept relationships that drain me. I will no longer accept wasting time on things that go nowhere. I will no longer accept my own excuses. I will no longer accept a life that doesn't challenge or grow me. You feel the correct one in your chest right now. That tightening sensation, that emotional reaction, that is your inner intelligence pointing to the truth. Say it, not softly, not halfway. Say it as if your future depends on it, because it does. The reason most people never speak their truth. People don't stay stuck because they don't know what to do. They stay stuck because they fear what speaking truth will require. When you say, I will no longer accept this, you are accepting responsibility. You can't hide behind confusion anymore. You can't pretend everything is okay. You can't wait around hoping someone else will fix it. Speaking truth out loud forces you to live in alignment. It forces integrity. It forces change. And that scares people. But staying silent is far more costly. Silence slowly dismantles your spirit. Truth spoken restores it. The moment everything changes. The moment you speak the sentence out loud, with honesty, with authority, with presence, your energy shifts instantly. You feel more grounded. Your mind becomes clearer. Your chest feels lighter. Your confidence rises. Your direction sharpens. You stop drifting. You stop swallowing pain. You stop betraying yourself. It is in this moment that your next chapter begins. Not when you take action, but when you speak the truth that makes action inevitable. You set the standard for your life. Everything you accept teaches the world how to treat you. Everything you tolerate teaches your mind what is allowed. Everything you stay silent about writes the script of your life. Raise your standard, and your entire world recalibrates. People respond differently. Your decisions change. Your habits change. Your energy becomes stronger. Your identity elevates. You stop living by accident. You start living by intention. Say it now. You don't need an audience. You don't need the perfect moment. You don't need approval. Find a quiet space. Stand tall. Breathe in. Place your hand on your chest and say your sentence clearly. I will no longer accept. Let the words resonate through your body. Let them echo in your mind. Let them rewrite the standard of how you will live from this day forward. This is not anger. This is clarity. This is power. This is alignment, and it is yours now. Chapter 11. Raise your standard of what you allow from yourself. Every life ultimately rises or collapses to the level of one thing: your standard. Not your goals, not your dreams, not your intentions. Your standard. Your standard is the invisible line you refuse to go below. It is the minimum level of discipline, behavior, integrity, and effort you demand from yourself. Most people do not fail because they aim too high. They fail because their standard for themselves is too low. They accept their own excuses. They accept half efforts. They accept inconsistency. They accept moods instead of commitments. They accept survival instead of direction. They never rise because they never expect more from themselves than the version they currently are. But every person who transforms their life, every person who becomes unrecognizable from who they used to be, did it through one shift. They raised the standard of what they were willing to give, not just what they wanted to receive. Your standard is your real identity. You can say you want discipline, but if you tolerate your own laziness, your real standard is comfort. You can say you want success, but if you tolerate distraction more than focused effort, your real standard is avoidance. You can say you want confidence, but if you tolerate negative self-talk, your real standard is self-doubt. Identity is not who you talk about becoming. Identity is who you allow yourself to be on the days when everything is difficult. Your standard is your truth. Your life will always mirror it. The scientific reason standards matter. Your brain creates habits around whatever you consistently accept. Not what you say matters. What you prove matters through behavior. This is called habit reinforcement, where your neural pathways strengthen around the behaviors you repeat. If your standard is low, your brain saves energy by choosing the easiest option. Your motivation fluctuates. Your stress rises because life feels out of control. Your self-trust weakens. But when your standard rises, your brain adapts to higher expectations. Your baseline level of effort increases. Your emotional resilience grows. Your sense of identity becomes more stable. Raising your standard literally rewires your brain to operate at a higher level. You begin to feel like a different person because you are acting like one. The energetic impact of a high standard. On an energetic level, your standard sets your frequency. Low standards create low vibration, low confidence, low momentum, low clarity. High standards create energetic expansion, mental sharpness, inner power, self-respect, forward momentum. The universe does not respond to your desires. It responds to your energetic signature, and your signature is shaped by your standards. When your standard rises, your energy rises. When your energy rises, your environment begins to shift. When your environment shifts, your life follows. This is alignment at work. The real reason you keep repeating old patterns. You haven't raised your standard past them. You've been trying to motivate your way into a new chapter without actually raising the minimum level of what you allow from yourself. You haven't changed your standard for how you wake up, how you handle stress, how you speak to yourself, how you treat your body, how you manage distractions, how you uphold your boundaries, how you show up when no one sees you. That is why nothing changes. You cannot upgrade your life with the same standard that created your current one. When you raise your standard, everything will feel different. Not easier, different. There is a quiet shift inside you when you decide, I do not live like that anymore. You stop choosing the path of least resistance. You stop negotiating with your excuses. You stop tolerating what pulls you backward. You stop accepting behaviors that drain your energy. You begin to act with more intention. You begin to choose effort over emotion. You begin to move with clarity instead of chaos. It feels uncomfortable at first. It feels demanding. It feels like you're meeting a new version of yourself. Because you are who you become when you raise your standard. You become the kind of person who shows up even when unmotivated, follows through even when no one acknowledges it, chooses consistency over intensity, checks themselves when old patterns reappear, refuses to abandon their goals at the first sign of discomfort, treats their time and energy like they matter, behaves like their future is watching. You begin to carry yourself with a certain seriousness about your life, a certainty, a presence. People feel it. You feel it. This is how people reinvent themselves, not with dramatic actions, but with a new standard that eventually becomes their new identity. The moment you raise your standard, life reorganizes, your relationships change, your environment changes, your priorities change, your emotional responses change, your habits change, because you no longer operate on the vibration that allowed inconsistency, distraction, or self-neglect. You start moving differently, thinking differently, choosing differently. Your standard becomes the filter for your life. If something matches it, you allow it. If something doesn't, you release it. This is how you stop living in chaos. This is how you step into alignment. How to raise your standard today. Do not raise everything at once. Choose one area, the one that is costing you the most. Then decide, from this day forward, I no longer accept. From myself. Fill it clearly. I no longer accept lack of discipline. I no longer accept skipping the work I know I must do. I no longer accept treating my goals like options. I no longer accept disappearing when things feel hard. I no longer accept my own excuses. I no longer accept disrespecting my time. Then choose one new standard. I show up daily. I keep my word. I move even when I don't feel like it. I lead myself with intention. I honor my schedule. I act like my future matters. And keep it. That one upgraded standard will begin a chain reaction that transforms everything. Raising your standard is a declaration of self-respect. When you raise your standard, you are telling your future self, I am building you on purpose. You are telling your past self, I am no longer that person. You are telling the world, my life is not random. My behavior is not accidental. My growth is non-negotiable. You don't rise by hoping. You rise by demanding more of yourself than your past ever required. This is how people change. This is how lives transform. This is how strength is built. Raise your standard, and everything else will rise to meet it. Chapter 12. Stop reacting to life and start directing it. There is a version of you that wakes up each day and simply responds to messages, to pressure, to noise, to moods, to problems, to whatever life throws first. This is the reactive self, the self that waits, the self that absorbs, the self that allows the world to decide the tone of the day. Most people live their entire lives like this, reacting instead of directing, following instead of leading, absorbing life instead of shaping it. They don't choose their mornings. They don't choose their thoughts. They don't choose their pace. They don't choose their standards. They don't choose their emotional responses. Life happens to them rather than through them. But a powerful life is never built from reaction. A powerful life is built from direction, from conscious, intentional self-leadership. You must stop letting the world tell you who you are today. You must decide it first. Reaction is the default of an untrained mind. Your brain is wired for survival, not purpose. If you don't consciously direct it, it will default to familiar habits, familiar fears, familiar emotional loops, familiar limits. This is why reactive living feels so natural. It requires no thought, no discipline, no intention, no identity. The moment your alarm rings, your brain scans for threats. It checks for stress. It checks for unfinished tasks. It checks for emotional residue from yesterday. And before you even get out of bed, your state is already chosen for you, unless you choose it first. The neuroscience of direction. When you take even 1 minute each morning to set intention, your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for conscious decision-making, activates. This single action reduces emotional reactivity, increases clarity, sharpens awareness, stabilizes mood, raises your threshold for stress. When you direct your mind, you reclaim authority over your internal world. But when you skip this step, your limbic system, the emotional brain, takes the wheel, leading to impulsive reactions, anxiety, scattered attention, poor decisions, emotional volatility. Your life becomes accidental instead of intentional. The spiritual truth of directing your life. On an energetic level, reaction collapses your power. Reactive living keeps your energy tight, small, defensive, unfocused. This vibration attracts more chaos, more confusion, more uncertainty. But direction expands your energy field. It signals, I am not a passenger in my own life. I am the one steering it. And when your energy aligns with leadership, your environment begins responding to you instead of controlling you. Life bends to those who lead themselves. The cost of a reactive life. A reactive life feels unstable because it is unstable. You're only confident when the day is easy. You're only calm when people behave. You're only focused when conditions are perfect. You're only disciplined when you feel inspired. This is not strength. This is dependency. Every time you react without intention, you give away a small piece of your power. Someone annoys you. Your mood collapses. An issue appears. Your day derails. A task feels hard. You retreat. Someone's energy shifts. Your confidence disappears. Imagine living like this for years. Most people do. But you are not meant to be most people. Direction begins with a single decision. Before the world has a chance to hand you chaos, you set the tone. Ask yourself, how am I choosing to show up today, regardless of what happens? This is not pretending life is perfect. This is deciding who you will be in the face of whatever the day holds. Strength is not built in calm days. Strength is built through intentional identity. When you direct your life, you decide your emotional posture, your mental sharpness, your standards, your boundaries, your pace, your energy, your internal narrative. You stop being moved by everything outside you because you're anchored by everything inside you. You cannot control everything, but you can control you. You cannot control traffic, other people's emotions, unexpected problems, delays, discomfort, outcomes, weather timing, but you can control your state, your breath, your reactions, your choices, your priorities, your focus, your energy, your standards. This is enough to change your entire life. Not because you gain control of the world, but because you gain control of yourself in the world. The gap between reaction and direction. There is always a small space between stimulus and response. Reactive people collapse that space. Directed people use it. That space is where your life is built. In that space, you choose calm over chaos, focus over distraction, effort over avoidance, intent over impulse, identity over emotion. Reacting takes no strength. Directing takes mastery. Practical reset. The 3-step self-direction ritual. You don't need a long routine. You need intention. Step 1. Sit up before thought. Don't let your mind dictate your posture. Posture dictates mind. Step 2. Breathe deeply for 20 seconds. This shifts your system from reactive to regulated. Step 3. Say out loud, today I lead myself. Today I choose who I am. Today I set the tone. These words signal your nervous system, your consciousness, your energy field. You are declaring direction before the world interferes. Emotional mastery is built through direction. When you direct your day, stress hits differently. Annoyances hit differently. Uncertainty hits differently. Challenges hit differently. Not because they disappear, but because you approach them from power rather than panic. A directed mind is harder to shake. A directed heart is harder to drain. A directed identity is harder to break. Your life becomes steadier because you are steadier. Be the force, not the consequence. Reactive people are consequences of their environment. Directed people are forces within it. You are meant to be the force. The steady energy in the room, the grounded presence in the situation, the one who chooses effort over excuse, focus over noise, standards over impulses. Life feels entirely different when you stop waiting for conditions to improve and start deciding who you are, regardless of conditions. This is leadership. This is power. This is maturity. This is awakening. Today, you stop reacting and start directing. Take a breath. Feel your awareness settle. Feel your strength rise. Say it. I choose direction. I choose intention. I choose identity over emotion. I choose leadership over reaction. This is the moment you take the wheel back. This is the moment your life shifts from accidental to intentional. This is the moment you stop letting the world shape you and start shaping your world. You have been reactive long enough. You have been passive long enough. You have been waiting long enough. Now you lead. Chapter 13. Evaluate the energy you let into your life. You cannot rise into a higher life while staying surrounded by lower energy. That is a universal law, psychological, spiritual, and energetic. Every day, without noticing, you are absorbing the energy of your environment, the emotions of the people you allow. Close the noise you consume, the habits you repeat, the spaces you stay in, the thoughts you entertain, the beliefs you accept, the conversations you tolerate. All of these shape your inner world far more than you realize. If you feel drained, unfocused, anxious, or stagnant, it is rarely because you are weak. It is because you are carrying energy that was never yours to hold. And until you evaluate the energy around you, your mind will remain cluttered. Your body will remain tense. Your purpose will feel heavy. Your inner light will dim. This chapter is about taking back your power by becoming fiercely selective about what enters your mental, emotional, and energetic space. Everything you allow affects who you become. You don't become stronger by accident. You don't become calm by accident. You don't become focused by accident. Identity is shaped not only by what you do, but by what you allow. If you allow chaos, you will internalize chaos. If you allow gossip, you will internalize smallness. If you allow negativity, you will internalize doubt. If you allow emotional instability, you will internalize turbulence. And none of these align with the higher version of you you're building. You must become a guardian of your inner world, not a sponge for everyone else's fears, dramas, and projections. The science of energy absorption. You can call it intuition, sensitivity, or energetic resonance. But the effect is real. Your nervous system constantly responds to the people around you. When someone walks into the room with agitation, your physiology shifts. Your heart rate increases. Your breathing shallow. Your stress hormones rise. Mirror neurons fire. Your brain imitates the emotional state in front of you, even without permission. This is why certain people leave you feeling lighter, and others leave you feeling smaller. Your inner world is deeply influenced by the energy you're immersed in. And most people never evaluate it. They just absorb it and call it my mood. But it's not your mood. It's your environment shaping your biology. The spiritual law of resonance. On an energetic level, like attracts like. If you stay around people who operate from fear, your frequency lowers. If you spend time with people who complain, your energy constricts. If your environment is cluttered, your intuition becomes foggy. If your conversations revolve around problems, your future becomes small. Energy moves first. Reality follows. This is why upgrading your environment is a form of spiritual growth, because the energy you allow directly affects the energy you generate. You must identify what is draining you. Sit with yourself and ask, what consistently makes me feel heavy? Who leaves me feeling unclear or insecure? Which habits leave my mind scattered? What conversations lower my self-worth? Which environments make me shrink? Answer without judgment. You are not being dramatic. You are being honest. Because your life cannot rise if your energy is being pulled downward every day. Sometimes the greatest barrier to your growth is not your effort. It's the energetic weight attached to you. Not everyone deserves access to you. People believe they must tolerate everything, every emotion, every request, every message, every problem, every conversation, every person. But access to you is a privilege, not a right. You must protect your energy the same way you would protect a fire in the wind. Shield it, feed it, guard it. Not everyone speaks from clarity. Not everyone moves from integrity. Not everyone operates from stability. Some people drain because they refuse to evolve. Some people suffocate because they refuse to grow. Some people distract because they fear their own silence. And if you're not careful, their energy becomes yours. You cannot build your future in an environment that keeps you tied to your past. Energy cannot be neutral. Everything you allow is either increasing your momentum or weakening it, expanding your energy or shrinking it, raising your clarity or clouding it, strengthening your identity or distorting it. There is no neutral energy in your life. Everything contributes to your direction, toward your higher self or away from it. This is why evaluation is not optional. It is essential. The 3 levels of energetic evaluation. 1. Evaluate people. Not from judgment, but from impact. Ask yourself, do they lift my energy or lower it? Do I feel like myself around them? Do they respect my growth? Does my spirit rise or shrink in their presence? People who drain your energy do not need to be villains. They simply don't align with where you're going. 2. Evaluate environments. Your space shapes your state. Ask, is my environment chaotic or calming? Do I feel productive or distracted here? Does this space support the identity I am building? Your environment must reflect your future, not your past. 3. Evaluate inputs. What you consume becomes what you think. Ask, what media am I feeding my mind? What thoughts am I repeating? What emotional states am I rehearsing daily? Your mind cannot stay sharp if it's fed confusion. Your energy cannot stay high if it's fed noise. Upgrading your energy is a form of self-respect. Protecting your energy is not selfish. It is self-respect. It is the recognition that your life is built from the inside out, and that your inner world must be guarded with intention. When you raise the quality of energy around you, your thoughts become clearer, your emotions become calmer, your confidence becomes stronger, your decisions become sharper, your intuition becomes louder, your focus becomes deeper. Your entire path becomes smoother, not because life becomes easy, but because you become aligned. You become what you allow. Nothing shapes your identity faster than what you constantly let near you. You deserve to be surrounded by clarity, discipline, focus, respect, and ambition. You deserve environments that support your growth. You deserve conversations that expand your mind. You deserve people who match your effort and honor your boundaries. And most importantly, you deserve the energetic freedom to rise. Your life changes the moment you decide, I no longer allow low energy near my future. From that point forward, everything shifts. Your decisions, your habits, your emotional stability, your self-image. Because your energy is no longer diluted. It is concentrated, elevated, and aligned with your highest self. Protect it, guard it, honor it, and your life will rise to meet the power you carry. Chapter 14. Clean up your inner world before you chase outer goals. Before you chase your next achievement, before you plan your next move, before you pursue the next chapter of your life, you must ask a deeper question. Is my inner world clean enough to carry the future I want? Most people try to build a new life on top of emotional clutter, mental noise, unresolved tension, and chaotic energy. They add goals on top of confusion. They add plans on top of instability. They add pressure on top of exhaustion. And then they wonder why everything feels heavy, slow, overwhelming, or impossible. You cannot build a powerful life on a foundation that is crowded, noisy, or fragmented. Your inner world must be cleaned, cleared, and calibrated. Not for perfection, but for alignment. This chapter is not about fixing yourself. It is about freeing yourself from what blocks your strength. Your outer life cannot outrun your inner state. You can try to work hard. You can try to stay disciplined. You can try to set goals. You can try to push forward. But if your inner world is cluttered, your outer world will always reflect that clutter. Because you don't create life from action alone. You create it from your beliefs, your emotions, your clarity, your attention, your subconscious patterns, your energetic frequency. You cannot rise into a clean future with a chaotic inner world. The psychology of internal clarity. Your mind operates like a system. When too many unresolved emotions, fears, regrets, or unfinished thoughts occupy space, your cognitive load increases. This leads to slower decision-making, emotional reactivity, reduced focus, increased anxiety, scattered goals, lowered confidence. Your brain cannot move forward efficiently while carrying internal weight. Cleaning your inner world is not optional. It's required for long-term clarity, direction, and consistency. The spiritual science of inner cleanliness. On an energetic level, internal clutter lowers your frequency. When you hold resentment, fear, avoidance, unresolved tension, old memories, past mistakes, unexpressed emotions, your energy becomes dense. Dense energy slows your progress. Dense energy blocks intuition. Dense energy lowers creativity. Dense energy prevents manifestation. But when you clear your inner space, your energy rises, and life begins to align with that higher vibration. You attract opportunities differently. You think differently. You carry yourself differently. You speak differently. You choose differently. The outer world mirrors the inner world. You must face what you avoid. Cleaning your inner world requires honesty. Radical, uncomfortable, uncompromising honesty. Ask yourself, what am I carrying that I never healed? What thoughts have been draining me for months? What emotion do I keep suppressing? What fear do I pretend doesn't exist? What story from the past am I still reliving? What truth about myself have I been avoiding? These are not weaknesses. These are entry points to strength. The things you avoid are the things that block your path the most. You do not rise by ignoring your inner world. You rise by confronting it. The 3 types of inner clutter. 1. Emotional clutter. Old disappointments, unspoken anger, lingering guilt, suppressed sadness, unprocessed experiences. These emotions stay alive until they are expressed. 2. Mental clutter. Constant overthinking, looped fears, unfinished decisions, internal debates, analyses without action. Your mind becomes a tangled web without clarity. 3. Energetic clutter. People you haven't detached from, identities you've outgrown, patterns you keep repeating, spaces that drain your power, habits that keep you small. These energies pull you backward, even when you try to move forward. Cleaning your inner world means addressing all three. You cannot build your future with old data. Your subconscious mind runs your life more than your conscious decisions. If your subconscious is filled with, "I'm not enough. I always fail. Nothing works for me. I can't trust myself. I'm stuck." It doesn't matter how ambitious your goals are. Your inner world will sabotage them. You cannot build a future using outdated beliefs. You cannot rise while carrying an identity that belongs to an older version of you. You must update your inner programming so your future has room to land. Cleansing does not mean rewriting your past. It means releasing your attachment to it. It means allowing yourself to stop revisiting old mistakes. It means forgiving yourself for decisions you made from survival, not clarity. It means acknowledging that you did the best you could with the level of awareness you had. Your past is not the problem. Your attachment to it is. A clean inner world is free from the gravity of yesterday. The 4-part inner cleanup ritual. 1. Silence. You cannot hear your inner world until you create space. Sit in stillness for even 2 minutes. Let the noise settle. 2. Awareness. Ask, what is taking up space in me that doesn't belong? Let the answers come naturally. Your body always knows. 3. Release. Express the emotion. Write the thought. Speak the truth. Let the weight exit your system through intention. 4. Replace. Every release must be followed with renewal. Replace fear with intention. Replace doubt with clarity. Replace old identity with chosen identity. This is how you create internal order. A clean inner world makes you unstoppable because clarity creates momentum. When your inner space is clear, you wake up lighter, you think faster, you feel calmer, you move with purpose, you stop overreacting, you stop overthinking, you stop doubting, you stop carrying unnecessary weight. Your confidence rises naturally because nothing inside you is working against you. Your direction sharpens because there is no internal noise drowning your intuition. Your discipline strengthens because you are not fighting mental clutter every morning. Your energy expands because you are no longer leaking power into unresolved emotions. You become unstoppable, not by force, but by alignment. Cleaning your inner world is a commitment to your future self. This is not a one-time act. It is a lifestyle, a standard, a choice you make daily. I refuse to carry what is not mine. I refuse to be weighed down by my past. I refuse to build my future from old energy. I refuse to drag emotional debris into the next chapter of my life. Your future deserves a cleaner space, a stronger mind, a brighter energy, a clearer heart. And the moment you commit to inner cleanliness, your entire life will begin to rise. Not because the world changed, but because you did. Thank you for listening with an open mind and heart. If a certain chapter or insight resonated most with you, share it in the comments. You might help someone else find exactly what they need today. Keep this book saved so you can return to its words whenever life calls for reflection or guidance. I wish you health, peace, and wisdom in every step you take.